This is a story set in Los Angeles in 2013. The opening scene shows a lady with teary eyes looking into a mirror and applying makeup. She is the heroine of the story, named Hope, a famous beautician with a booming skincare business. Outside her house, the sound of police sirens can be heard, but the reason for it is currently unknown. The story then cuts to events that happened 2 weeks earlier. The heroine is about to give an interview on a TV channel. It's her first time doing so, and she feels a bit nervous. Her assistant motivates her, telling her that she can do it, which gives the heroine a bit of confidence. The show's in charge gives a grand introduction for the heroine, and a lady anchor accompanies him. The heroine's parlor is named Hollywood Skincare Studio. She plans to launch her own skincare products soon. When asked about her products, the heroine proudly says that they are of high quality, made in Italy, and shipped from there. The lady anchor asks how the heroine has maintained her position in this competitive business. The heroine replies that reputation is key in this business, and her 20 years of experience have helped her succeed. The scene then cuts to the heroine's parlor, showing many clients coming to her for youthful and glowing skin. The heroine's assistant handles the appointments and availability for the clients. Opposite the heroine's parlor, a new setup is about to open. Curious, the heroine goes to check it out. A board reads, "Shimmer by Angel," indicating that the owner's name is Angel. The heroine enters the new parlor and finds no one inside. She picks up a brochure and realizes that Angel is starting a rival parlor. Just then, Angel arrives, mistaking the heroine for a customer and asking if she has an appointment. The heroine introduces herself as the owner of the skincare studio opposite. She initially thought it was a different type of store and wanted to cover the store with her sample products. However, realizing it's another parlor, she nonetheless gives Angel her sample products, stating that her formulas are copyrighted. Angel acknowledges that the heroine is smart. The same landlord who rented the building to the heroine also rented it to Angel. Angel assures the heroine not to worry about her business. The heroine replies confidently that their clients are different, and there will be no issues. The heroine's car is parked in a spot reserved for Angel. Angel asks the heroine not to park there in the future. Feeling slighted, the heroine, who came with sample products as a gift, leaves the place after handing them over to Angel. In the next scene, the heroine meets the building owner. The heroine asks why he brought another facialist to meet her. The owner says as long as someone pays the rent correctly, he doesn't mind. The heroine indirectly points out that she owes him rent. The owner acknowledges and says he needs the money, and the heroine says she's tight on budget due to investing in her own product launch. The owner insists on the rent, and the heroine gives him sample products and asks him to get rid of Angel who is causing trouble. The owner asks when she will pay the rent, and the heroine promises to pay by the next Monday or Tuesday. In the following scene, a client named Colleen is waiting for the heroine at the parlor. Colleen has brought a neighbor named Jordan with her. Jordan is introduced to the heroine, and she is aware that Jordan has heard a lot about her. The heroine tells Jordan to speak to her assistant while she takes Colleen for a face massage. Since Colleen is a regular client, the heroine engages in casual conversation and asks about Jordan. Colleen praises Jordan as a good person who has worked hard to succeed in life. Next, the heroine is at a coffee shop, reading an article about Angel and his parlor in a magazine. She worries that Angel might overtake her. Just then, an old friend of the heroine, Jessica, who is now an actress, arrives. Jessica shares that she just returned from a shoot in Azerbaijan. The heroine talks about launching her own products and gifts Jessica a moisturizer. Jessica asks if a newly opened parlor is the heroine's, and the heroine feels sad that Jessica knows about the new parlor but not her own. However, she hides her disappointment. After Jessica leaves, the heroine smokes alone and notices Jordan sitting by himself. She goes over to talk to him, and they end up at a restaurant sharing many things. The heroine reveals she started her skincare business with her husband and worked hard after their separation to succeed. Jordan shares that he met the heroine during a photo shoot 3 years ago and was inspired by her story. Jordan is a life coach who teaches spiritual and martial arts practices. As the conversation ends, the heroine takes Jordan's business card and leaves after a brief chat. The next day, the heroine receives a video call from an unknown number. The video shows someone recording her through the window while she is changing clothes. Shocked, she receives another call but no one responds. Confused, she heads to the parlor, and her client Colleen calls to ask if she drank last night. The previous night, an email from the heroine's account was sent to clients and friends, with the message, "My business is going into loss, and I am alone. I need a man's support." The heroine, shocked, checks her mailbox and realizes she didn't send such an email. Angel approaches her opposite the parlor, causing her to hurry inside. Her assistant asks if she drank last night, implying that they too received the email. The heroine explains her email account was hacked. The assistant knows the heroine wouldn't send such an email but is unsure how it happened. Some clients canceled their appointments after seeing the email. The heroine instructs her assistant to email and call the client list to explain the situation and change the password. As the heroine prepares to watch her segment on a TV channel, the assistant is ready to record her reaction for social media. However, a twist occurs. The heroine's segment is replaced with Angel's, who brags about his anti-aging technology and claims no one can surpass his skincare business. The lady anchor requests an appointment with Angel. The heroine, feeling devastated, shuts herself in a room and cries. The following scene shows the heroine meeting the show in charge. It seems the producers cancelled her segment because they received the hacked email. They aired Angel's segment instead, as it was ready. The heroine, distressed, suspects this is not a coincidence but sabotage as she's launching her products. She requests the in charge to help get her segment aired. He flirts and tries to kiss her, suggesting he will help if she complies. The heroine cleverly records this and, though the in charge panics and asks her to delete the recording, she lies about deleting it and leaves, leaving him worried. The next morning, the heroine arrives at the parlor. She asks her assistant if Jordan dropped her off by car. The assistant asks if she inquired about Jordan, and the heroine spots Angel entering his parlor through the window. She asks the assistant if Angel could be the one who hacked her account, and the assistant wonders how he could have done it. The heroine sees an actress approaching and gets excited, thinking she is coming to their parlor, only to see her entering Angel's parlor instead. Furious, the heroine storms over and argues with the actress, who says she just came for a facial. The heroine, frustrated, reminds her of all the help she provided and curses her before leaving. Later that night, the heroine leaves the parlor and finds all 4 tires of her car punctured. She looks around to see who did it but finds no one. She calls the police to report the incident. The scene then shifts to a garage where the heroine knows the mechanic, who towed her car. The mechanic advises her to find out who is angry enough to damage her tires and suggests she carry a gun for safety. The mechanic has a crush on the heroine and offers his help, telling her to call him if she has any problems. In the next scene, the heroine goes to a weapons shop to buy a gun for self-defense. The shopkeeper offers her a handgun, but she finds it too heavy and expensive, and it would take 10 days to get it after a background check. She insists she needs a gun immediately, so the shopkeeper gives her a smaller gun that shoots pepper spray. She buys it as it's cheaper. Later, she goes to a dress shop where the owner asks about the rent, and she tells him to visit the office the next day to collect it. The following scene shows the heroine giving a facial to a client while her assistant is at the reception. A rough-looking man comes in, asking for the heroine. The assistant asks if he has an appointment, but he angrily responds he doesn't need one. He refuses to give his name and demands everything on the menu, confusing the assistant. The rowdy man gets agitated, and the heroine comes out to ask what he wants. He says he wants her, and the heroine gets ready to use her spray gun. Suddenly, Jordan arrives and questions the rowdy, who then attacks him. Jordan throws the man out and leaves him complaining. The reason behind the rowdy's behavior becomes clear when they find out that a search for the heroine's name on Google leads to an adult website where someone has morphed her photo and listed the parlor's address as a service location. The rowdy thought she was a call girl. The heroine reports this to the police, and the detective asks who has access to her photos. Jordan explains she's a public figure with photos in many magazines. The detective suspects it could be a prank and promises to investigate. He gives his number to the heroine for emergencies. The heroine, frustrated, wishes someone would remove this content from the internet. Angel is seen watching the heroine from his parlor, and she notices him. In the next scene, the heroine is at home with Jordan. She asks him what advice he would give if he were her client. Jordan replies that she has the magic to make people feel comfortable and relaxed. He suggests that she needs to take control of the situation, as there are a lot of false things spreading online about her. Jordan proposes that she turn her product launch event into a party and invite VIP clients. The heroine thinks this idea might work, and a bond forms between her and Jordan during this meeting. The next day, the heroine is in the parking area outside the parlor and sees the building owner approaching. She hides behind her car as she still hasn't paid the rent. The show in charge calls the heroine, who asks when her segment will air. The in charge asks if she has deleted the recording, and she offers to speak with the producers herself, but he declines, saying he will try. The heroine then goes to a coffee shop where she meets a client named Margaret. This was the same client the heroine was with during the rowdy incident. Margaret, who is a famous influencer, asks about the rowdy. The heroine explains that someone was harassing her. Previously, the heroine had discussed collaborating with Margaret to launch her products, but Margaret now declines due to time constraints, avoiding the heroine. The heroine feels disappointed by the situation. She notices an old man watching her at the coffee shop and later sees him following her, prompting her to quickly start her car and leave. In the following scene, the heroine is at the parlor, looking out the window at Angel's parlor. Angel's business is thriving while hers is struggling, with regular clients canceling their appointments. Margaret is also seen going to Angel's parlor, upsetting the heroine. She contemplates taking action against Angel, believing he is responsible for her problems, including hacking, morphing photos, and sending someone to follow her. However, she has no evidence. She explains the situation to the building owner, who is more concerned about when she will pay the rent. Angel has also complained to the owner about the heroine preventing his clients from entering his parlor. The owner disregards the heroine's claims and insists she prepares the rent. Frustrated, the heroine curses him. Later that night, the heroine follows Angel as he leaves his parlor and heads home. She watches him from her car, suspecting he is planning something. However, Angel surprises her by singing with colorful lights, resembling a musical rain performance. Unable to watch any longer, the heroine calls Jordan, but the call goes to voicemail. She leaves a message informing him that she is near Angel's house, suspecting he is planning something. Meanwhile, Jordan, high on drugs, is dancing in a semi-conscious state. The rowdy who harassed the heroine arrives at Jordan's house with another man, demanding money for protecting the heroine. Jordan pays him, revealing that he set up the rowdy incident. He plans to stage more incidents to appear as the hero. Jordan is seen practicing life coaching points, including creating situations to appear heroic. The scene cuts to the heroine, who is deep in thought about her life's direction. In the next scene, the heroine meets Jordan in a bar to discuss their situation. She laments that the police are not doing anything about Angel. Jordan suggests that until this problem is resolved, he could set up his office at her parlor for safety. The heroine agrees it's a good idea. She asks what they should do about Angel, and Jordan proposes speaking to him directly to find a resolution. When the heroine asks who will do that, Jordan says, "I am here, I'll take care of it," and leaves. The heroine feels proud of Jordan, thinking he is like one of those rare good people who make the world a better place. In the next scene, Jordan goes to Angel's parlor to meet him. Angel asks what he wants, but before Jordan can answer, Angel's PA interrupts to discuss booking flight tickets for Angel's upcoming ad shoot in New York. Jordan, who has been trying to break into acting for years, sees an opportunity and starts discussing a potential partnership with Angel, mentioning his skills in martial arts and mango picking. Angel dismisses Jordan, insulting him by saying he doesn't know who he is and telling him not to come around anymore. Jordan, feeling humiliated, calls the heroine and lies that he warned Angel to stay out of her way, making her feel relieved. Later that night, a stranger breaks into the heroine's house. She hears the noise and grabs her spray gun, only to find that it's the same old man who had been following her. He checks her phone for something, but she sprays him and chases him out of her house. Meanwhile, Jordan is seen deleting the heroine's photos from the adult website, indicating he was behind it all along. He had orchestrated the problems to appear as her savior. When the heroine calls and angrily accuses Angel of sending someone to her house, Jordan, confused, reassures her that he is handling everything. The heroine, fed up, tells Jordan she will handle things herself. And angrily hangs up. In the next scene, the heroine meets with the mechanic, recounting everything from the videos sent to her phone to the recent break-in. The mechanic advises her to leave it to him and not discuss it with anyone else. She gives him a moisturizer as a gift and leaves. The next morning at the parlor, the heroine feels a sense of calm as if the troubles are over. Jordan calls the parlor's landline, and the assistant tells the heroine to attend the call. The assistant mentions that Jordan had informed her about the heroine's anger. She also shows the heroine a gift package from Jordan, a framed photo of the heroine from a magazine. The heroine isn't particularly excited about it. Outside the parlor, the mechanic is watching from his car to ensure her safety. The heroine feels apprehensive about what might happen next. The assistant doesn't understand what the heroine is planning and tells her not to act erratically during the product launch, emphasizing that her career depends on the success of this venture. The heroine confidently reassures her that she won't mess up. In the next scene, the detective meets the heroine, and she asks if they have come to arrest Angel. The detective shows her CCTV footage from the parlor's parking area instead. It shows Angel getting out of his car and approaching the heroine's car but only tying his shoelace and leaving. The real person who damaged her car tires is revealed to be Jordan, shocking the heroine. The detective asks if she knows him, and she says she doesn't. The detective promises to investigate further. In the following scene, the heroine calls Jordan, but he doesn't answer, and she leaves a scathing voicemail. Jordan meets with the rowdy and tells him it's time for the next job. The plan is to send the rowdy to the heroine's house the next evening at 6 p.m. to cause trouble, and Jordan will show up at the right moment to save her and gain recognition. Jordan gives the rowdy the heroine's address. Meanwhile, the mechanic is preparing to confront Angel, unaware that Jordan is the real culprit. The heroine tries to call the mechanic to warn him not to harm Angel, but the mechanic has left his phone in the garage. In the next scene, Angel is at home singing when the mechanic arrives and confronts him. A fight ensues, and the heroine arrives at Angel's house to find him unconscious and bleeding. The mechanic is seen escaping in his car, but a truck suddenly crashes into it, killing him. The heroine, panicking, flees from Angel's house. The heroine calls Jordan on her way to the parlor, urgently asking him to come immediately. Jordan, unaware of the rowdy's timing, asks if he can come the next evening at 6 p.m. The heroine insists he comes right away, explaining that something terrible has happened to Angel, and everything is messed up. Jordan, alarmed, hangs up. The heroine sees police outside Angel's parlor but quickly enters her own without showing fear. At the same time, Jordan calls the police, reporting that the heroine is angry with Angel and might harm him due to their ongoing issues. At the parlor, the heroine watches the police through the window. She receives a call from the mechanic's assistant, informing her about his death in the accident. Distraught, the heroine cancels all her appointments and decides to go home. The police then knock on her door, and she pretends to be unaware of any trouble, asking what the problem is. They inform her about the attack on Angel the previous night and that he is in serious condition in the hospital. The police don't have other details, and the heroine puts on a show of sympathy, fooling the officers into leaving. Her assistant, having witnessed everything, asks what is happening. The heroine blames Jordan for everything, shocking the assistant, who knows his address. It turns out the assistant met Jordan when he first came to the parlor. In the next scene, the heroine goes to Jordan's address and finds him packing to escape. Upon seeing her, Jordan casually remarks that she found him. The heroine accuses him of ruining her life, but Jordan claims he did everything out of love for her. She angrily confronts him about slashing her car tires despite knowing about the security cameras. Jordan reminds her that she told him to do it. The story twist is revealed. The heroine had instructed Jordan to hack her email, morph her photo on an adult website, slash her car tires, and set up the rowdy incident to frame Angel and ruin his business. She believed this would allow her business to recover. However, the mechanic acted impulsively out of love, diverting her plan. Jordan, hoping for personal gain, helped her but turned her into the police when things went too far. The heroine, enraged, hits Jordan with a baseball bat and leaves. In the climax, the heroine stands in front of a mirror at home, surrounded by skincare products from Italy. She tearfully applies makeup as police sirens wail outside. The scene mirrors the opening, and within 2 weeks, so much has transpired. As the police arrive, she raises her hands and surrenders. The detective tells her that Jordan confessed everything. She denies knowing him, claiming he has loved her one-sidedly for 3 years since a photoshoot and slashed her tires. Even then, she doesn't fully admit the truth. Before getting into the police car, she requests that they lock her house and even offers the detective a moisturizer, saying it's good. The next day, the police arrest Jordan, who insists he did everything on her orders and calls her crazy, showing where she hit him. The rowdy, unaware of what transpired, goes to the heroine's house at 6 p.m. as instructed, finds no one, and leaves. Angel is shown being discharged from the hospital and avoiding reporters outside his parlor. The TV show in charge appears, revealing that the old man was his agent sent to delete the recording on the heroine's phone. He confirms the deletion, easing the in charge's worries. The show covers the controversy around the heroine, dubbed the killer facialist, for attempting to ruin her competitor. They air her previous interview footage, highlighting her message about taking control of life. The film ends with the notion that the heroine, despite everything, achieved her goal of getting her segment aired.